You're listening to As Read by Me, the podcast where writers read and readers listen.
Hi, I'm Heidi Bahnck, and this is Mope Time, as read by me. Years ago, as a college intern, I worked with a woman named Kim, who shared with me her morning ritual she called Mope Time. Mope Time was the first 30 to 60 minutes of her day, right when she woke up, blearily shuffling around her apartment in her bathrobe, transitioning from sleep to awake. Leaping out of bed and directly into the bustle of her day was just too emotionally jarring. She needed some buffer time to work up the energy to launch into her day first. At the time, the thought of getting up any earlier than was completely necessary was totally foreign to me, and I dismissed Kim's Mope Time as a funny quirk. Fast forward approximately 25 years to 2020, the year from hell. Quarantining and working largely from home shifted my circadian rhythms a bit so that I found myself tiring earlier in the evening and waking up naturally around 6 a.m., something college-age me could have never imagined. And I, too, have discovered that I need my Mope Time. I can't just leap out of bed and directly into my working mom morning to-do list. If I spend my pre-work morning hours doing household things, then spend the bulk of my day working, then spend my evening hours doing household things again, by the time I have any time to myself, I'm too spent to feel inspired to do anything but doom scroll on social media or channel surf. And then I go to bed feeling frustrated and unfulfilled, and wake the next morning to start the cycle all over again. So, towards the end of 2020, I did an experiment. Instead of forcing myself to sleep until the alarm went off at 7 a.m., I began to get out of bed at 6 a.m. when my body naturally awoke, and used that first 30 to 60 minutes of quiet solitude in the house to not exactly mope, but do things that nourish my soul. Mope Time for me has recently included practicing yoga, meditating, watching the sunrise, drinking coffee, reading, sketching in my art journal, enjoying silence, watching backyard wildlife with my dog, writing in my notebook, listening to podcasts, and knitting. I don't do all of these things every morning, but I do some, and it's making a difference. To quote unlikely philosopher Jim Hopper from Stranger Things, I've decided mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Instead of squandering my most fertile creative time checking things off my daily to-do list, Mope Time allows me to contemplate and explore, which opens up my creativity. I also start off my day less frustrated and more grounded because Mope Time guarantees me at least 30 to 60 minutes a day of me time, which I probably wouldn't otherwise get. Habitual morning exercisers will recognize this phenomenon for sure. For a lot of folks, if they don't exercise first thing in the morning, it won't happen at all. Mope Time is the same idea, but for exercising the mind and the spirit. Kim was definitely onto something. I just want to say that my friend Kim Grant, who is the inspiration behind this story, passed away in 2005 at the age of 47. Luckily, I had seen her a year or so prior at her retirement luncheon. And she made a young intern in a big corporate environment at the beginning of her career feel very welcome, and for that, I am grateful. I think of her very fondly.
Thanks for joining us. If you're listening on a podcast app, please hit the subscribe button to be notified when we release future episodes. For more information about the podcast and the authors, visit asreadbyme.com. You can also find us on Twitter, and you can stream video versions of the show on YouTube and Rumble. If you're enjoying the show and would like to help us keep it ad-free, please consider supporting us by visiting asreadbyme.com and clicking the donate button. If you're a writer and would like to read something on an upcoming episode, send an email to writers@asreadbyme.com.